Okay, so I just spent 200 bucks on groceries at 3 different grocery stores. And you want to know what? Onions, carrots, lettuce, basic vegetables that should cost like $2. I still don't have them. I'm a nutritionist and I eat mostly plants, and I literally could not afford, well, I guess I could have afforded. I chose not to afford to buy onions today because they were too expensive and they looked like shit. And because we went to 3 grocery stores, we got so hungry shopping that we had to stop at a 3rd grocery store just to buy something quick and affordable for dinner. Because have you eaten out lately in Canada? It's crazy expensive. And I chose to not spend the money on eating out and not waste my money. And this is just fucked. Grocery shopping in Canada right now is fucked, and I'm over it. So let me explain what happened. My husband and I, we needed to go for groceries. Wasn't even a full restock, just to pick up some things that we were running out of. And we already buy a lot of our groceries at Costco, like the staples, toilet paper, laundry soap, olive oil, that kind of stuff, because it's cheaper to buy in bulk. So that stuff's already done. So this was just supposed to be a fill in the gap kind of shop to pick up the stuff that we run out of quicker, produce, things like that. Canned goods, some spices to add to flavor up the dishes, whatever produce was on sale. Easy, right? Wrong. So I got some canned goods. I got some tomatoes, chickpeas, different beans, some spices because I was out of onion and garlic powder, some cumin and turmeric. And I got some produce, not much because there really wasn't that much on sale. And that was at store number 1. At store number 2, I found a good deal on some meat for my husband because he's not primarily plant-based like me. He does eat meat. And I got a really good deal on avocados, which was score. Felt like I won the lottery. And then we looked at the basics. Carrots, onion, lettuce. They're just too expensive. Who can afford to buy that shit? Like $5 for a head of lettuce? When? Why? How? So at this point, we'd been shopping for hours and we were starving, and we just didn't want to go to fast food because hello, quality versus quantity, all that stuff. I don't know where you live in Canada or in the world, but in Canada, to get burgers and fries, and I use burgers in quotations because I usually buy a veggie burger, that limits me to what restaurant I can actually go to, and let alone that. And it's just like $30-40 for the 2 of us to eat. That's just crazy. And that's just money I don't want to spend on fast food. I would rather spend it on my groceries, like the onions and carrots. So we stopped at the 3rd grocery store just to grab something quick and affordable for dinner, landed on veggie burgers because we needed to eat and it was getting late. And here we are, $200 later, and I still don't have onions or carrots in my house. How is this real life? So let me break down what $200 actually got us, because this is ridiculous. So at the first grocery store, which I went to, No Frills, which is a division of Superstore under Loblaws. Don't know if where you live has that or not, but it does. So I'd run out of like some pastas, so I got some spaghetti. I prefer to eat gluten-free, so I got gluten-free spaghetti. And why is it the gluten-free spaghetti costs the same, but for half the amount as like regular spaghetti? Crazy. I got some tinned tomatoes. I got some tinned beans. I was able to find my onion and garlic powder. I chose not to take the turmeric and the coriander that I was needing because $5 for like 30 grams of spices? What? How did they get so expensive? So I left those ones on the shelf. Got a little bit of produce, found a cauliflower on sale for like $4, which in Canada really isn't a bad price. So yeah, like most of this stuff was necessary. And the tinned tomatoes that I got were $1.25 a can, which is pretty good because they're, depending on which grocery store you go to, anywhere from $2.50 and up for a can of like tomatoes. I miss the days when it used to be 99 cents for the large tins of tomatoes. Spices, I lucked out. They actually were on sale, so I got my onion and garlic powder for $5 because it was a two for deal. And the produce, like I said, was a cauliflower. I got some mushrooms that were a good deal, and the bananas looked gross. And I think that was it that I got for produce at that first grocery store. That one cost $117 for that kind of stuff. Then we went to grocery store number 3, found some meat on sale for hubby, and then that was where I found the avos as well. Also looked at the onions and garlic and carrots. Nope, chose not to. That cost $40 for a little bit of meat and the avos. Like, this is crazy. Where have these prices gone and why? And it was, what was it? A 2-pound bag of onions was $5. A 2-pound bag of carrots, I think, was like $4. It's like, what happened to this $2? What happened to onions being like $1.50? This is just insane. And then again, $5 for a head of lettuce that they're growing in water. Crazy. Then we stopped at store number 3, picked up the veggie burgers. Didn't have any buns to go with them, so we got the buns as well. Looked at lettuce there too. Nope, not buying it. And yeah, so that cost us, another $20. So $200. Crazy. And then we still had to go home and cook and eat it. So $200. And I still don't have carrots. I don't have onions. I need potatoes, right? Don't have lettuce, which is a staple. Like, my house, we always, like, onions literally go in pretty much everything that I make. There's not much that I don't make that doesn't have onions in it. Whether it's a soup, a spaghetti, a shepherd's pie, a vegan shepherd's pie, that is. Christ, even our breakfasts have onions in it because we like to saute some onions and peppers and maybe have some eggs. Speaking of eggs, did not buy those at the grocery store because those are ridiculously priced. That is the one thing that I will go out of my way to buy good quality eggs. Lucky here on Vancouver Island that there's a couple of places that I know of that you can drive by somebody's house and they've got eggs, much the same as they do in the UK. This whole egg fiasco, I don't know where you live in Canada, but here in BC, there were a lot of eggs recalled lately. So this is why I do choose to spend a little bit more money and get better quality eggs. And you know what the other thing about the groceries that's really pissing me off? Shrinkflation. It's bullshit. Do they actually think that we're not going to notice that they're charging us more money for less? So the spaghetti that I normally get from my husband, because he doesn't do gluten-free, used to be a 2-kilo pack for, I don't know, like 99 cents, something like that when it was on sale. Now, 2 kilos is now 1.5 kilos, and it's $2, $2.50, something like that. We just got a smaller pack this time, which used to be a kilo, now is 900 grams, and that cost us $2.50 for the cheap, no-name spaghetti at No Frills. Everything is just getting smaller and more expensive, and it's ridiculous. The bags of carrots are getting smaller. The bags of onions are getting smaller. You used to be able to buy a 5-pound bag of onions for $3 or less, and they weren't rotten. Like, the produce nowadays, the quality has really gone downhill. And the other thing that's pissing me off about groceries is you literally cannot just shop at one grocery store anymore. You have to do your research. You have to check the flyers and the deals. You can find the flyers online. You can get the flyers in your mail, however you choose to get your flyers. Now, I have lived in places in Canada where you literally only have one grocery store, and the next grocery store away from that is a solid hour-and-a-half drive. So yeah, you got to suck it up. You got to pay the prices. And then when you go to the big town, then you do a big shop and you stock up on a lot of things that you can't afford, and you buy your produce at the locals because, produce is something that just doesn't last forever. So I understand if you have that living situation, that's fine. But I'm lucky here that I live in a place where there's, basically three grocery stores, because now that there's monopolies and oligarchies, now, Loblaws owns Save On, or sorry, Superstore and No Frills and whatever other subdivisions of it that they've called it. Thrifties is owned by Sobeys. Save On Foods is owned by Jim Pattison, who freaking owns everything in Canada. Anyway, my point is, you need to check the flyers and check prices and shop around. And it's exhausting. So shopping for groceries is kind of like running a marathon nowadays. It takes time, and a lot of people don't have time. So I do understand ordering in, which is something I might be considering. So as a nutritionist, I eat mostly plants and I cook mostly everything from scratch. I mean, there are times when I'll use canned beans instead of soaking my own beans, but I couldn't afford to buy onions today. Onions, carrots, lettuce, they're not fancy ingredients. These are just the basics. And they're priced like they're luxury items, like I'm buying truffles or something like that. So we're struggling to afford vegetables here in Canada. And for the people who don't have Costco memberships, I don't understand how they're doing it. And for people who eat meat on a regular basis, I don't understand how you're affording meat. So we're hungry, we're shopping forever, thought we'd just grab something quick on the way home, but you can't afford to do that anymore. Like I said, here for us, it's a minimum $30 for 2 meals at a fast food restaurant. And again, because I'm plant-based, it really limits me. I think I've got, and I don't eat the Impossible or whatever Beyond shit burgers that are out there nowadays, because they're just a chemical shitstorm made in a factory somewhere. I want to have something that's kind of a real patty. I choose to eat meat because I don't like the taste of it. I don't want something that tastes like meat as a plant-based person. So anyway, we just decided to go to the grocery store and pick them up and make them ourselves, which is fine because then, I cook most of my meals anyway and I can make it taste the way that I want it, and I don't have to worry about all of the ingredients that are going into that veggie patty. So this is just a sign of how bad things are getting in Canada. And the worst part is, because I am mostly plant-based, eating beans, lentils, veggies, whole grains, this is supposed to be the cheap way to eat. This is supposed to be affordable. If eating plants is getting to be this expensive, what the hell do you people who eat meat at every meal, how much are your grocery bills? Leave me a comment. Let me know. I'd really love to know how much your grocery bills are. So what are we making with what I did actually buy? Well, I will make tacos with it. I will make some bean burgers with it. Probably when I get my carrots and onions, I will make a plant-based version of shepherd's pie, which is delicious. We made spaghetti out of it because I like using mushrooms because they've got a nice meaty flavor. And I did have 1 onion, so, I use that up. I'll make a chickpea curry. I will make like refried burrito bowls or refried tacos, burrito bowls. So those are some of the things that, I will make. With the meat that I actually managed to get for my husband, he's only going to be able to get 2 meals out of it. That's it. So he's primarily plant-based as well. He likes his meat every once in a while, but honestly, we just can't afford it. 1 steak costs a minimum of $10, and that's not even like a good steak. It doesn't have any fat, no marbling, no bones. Where the hell have all the bones gone and all the meat, which used to give the flavor and the fat? You want something like that, you're looking at a minimum of $24 for 1 steak here. 1. But that's what $200 gets you in Canada right now. And when you're trying to eat real food and not go broke. So I still need to go back to the store today and get onions and carrots and some lettuce, which is going to cost me probably another $15. So if you're all trying to shop for groceries in Canada and you're trying to survive, here's what's helping us. Buy in bulk at places that you can, like Costco if you have a membership. Your toilet paper, your laundry soap, olive oil, coffee, rice, oats. We get a lot of this stuff at Costco because it is cheaper there. And yes, memberships do cost money up front, but if you do the exclusive membership, then you do get your money back. So it does help you when the checks come due. 2, shop the sales. Like I said, check the flyers, check out online the paper flyers. There's an app that I use called Reebee, Reebee. And if you type in, say, coffee beans, then it'll bring up all the stores that have coffee on sale this week. So that's what I do before I go for groceries. And 3rd, buy frozen and canned fruits and vegetables. They're your friends. So they are going to be cheaper, especially when you do the frozen vegetables and fruits, because they're picked at their ripe peak freshness and flash frozen, and then they're shipped to stores. So yeah, they might be a little freezer burnt because of the freeze thaw with the shipping and handling and stuff like that, but they're still very nutritious and very good for you, and it keeps the costs down. And accept that meal planning is now a part of your survival. You can't just buy ingredients and then decide what to eat. Now you need to plan your meals so that you know what ingredients you're going to need to buy or to make those meals. And then eat more plants if you can. Like I said, the prices for plant-based foods are getting ridiculous. However, it's still a hell of a lot cheaper than $25 for one steak. For $25, I can get onions and carrots and some lentils and dried chickpeas or some cans of stuff. So I don't have any solutions for grocery prices here in Canada, and I don't know when or if it's going to get better. So we've got $200 at 3 grocery stores, and I still don't have onions. That's the reality. But we're all just here trying to feed ourselves and our families with real food. It's hard, but it shouldn't be this hard. If you're also struggling with grocery prices, drop me a comment. Let me know what you're seeing in your area, and what are you doing to make it work? Because we're all in this together, and maybe we can help each other. If you want more realistic nutrition and grocery content that doesn't pretend everything is fine and affordable, hit subscribe. So I'm going to go and eat my veggie burgers now and try not to think about how much I need onions. I'll see you next time. Bye.